is there something that stands out for me that sort of helped take my sound to another level? Wow. I don't know that I can name one thing or one specific sort of thing that helped take my sound to another level. I think really it was a process for me figuring out who I am as an artist and figuring out what stories I wanted to tell, you know? So, some of my earlier work, I was all over the place, because I was still trying to figure it out, Some artists know exactly what they want to say from jump, but, I was kind of all over the place because for one, I'd never really looked at myself as a lead singer. Like that wasn't even what I was trying to do. I moved to LA to just be a songwriter. So my songs were kind of all over the place because I was just trying to play songs. But when I really fell in love with being a recording artist and being on stage, and when I really fell in love with that, I think that moment helped me take my sound to another level because it took my artistry, because I was able to sort of pinpoint who I was as an artist, Once I did that, then I was able to sort of excel, in a way, because I was able to really expand upon just who is Cy Smith and what story is she going to tell and how's she going to let you in and how is she going to take you there, If I could go back in time and sort of give my younger self a piece of advice, I would probably give myself a couple of pieces of advice. But the first thing I would tell myself is to never stop learning the craft, never stop, studying the craft. Because as long as you are a forever student, then you always have the capacity to grow. And that's really important. The other thing I would tell myself is you are okay just the way you are. Like I used to have you said earlier about confidence. It took me so long to become confident because vocally I never sounded like all the voices that I loved. All the voices I loved growing up, Shaka Khan and Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle, and I was never gonna sound like them. But it took me a long time to realize that's okay. Like the way that you sound is perfectly because that's how God wanted you to sound. So I would go back and tell my younger self that, you're fine just the way you are. You just got to keep building on the craft. As far as, has there been a moment that stands out in giving me some confidence? Working on this album, I was supposed to work with some other producers, and I had reached out to a couple of different people that I liked and, had relationships with, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out, right? And I was like, why don't I just produce this album myself? What's stopping you from doing it yourself, Cy? And the only thing stopping me was me. And I had to just bite down on the decision to just go in the studio and produce myself for once. Why? Because I knew I could do it, but for whatever reason, that little thing was telling me I couldn't, and I had to overcome that, by just digging into the work and forcing myself to do it. So this was the first album that I produced head to toe, and wrote every song by myself, and now I know I can do that, but I would have never known had I would have never known had those producers not been able to work with me, but I really would have never known had I not given myself the chance to just do it. And I think a lot of times we have to just try stuff, even if we fall, even if we fail, even if we, aren't perfect at it, we got to try it. Because if we don't try it, we'll just never know, and that's what our craft boils down to. It boils down to just taking chances all the time,